Next up, everyone is talking about Texas and Oregon being shoo-ins for the college football playoff. But which team do you think is better suited to win the conference in year one? Mike in Austin. This one's actually pretty simple for me. It's Oregon. And that's not a shot at Texas whatsoever. Texas is well built to sit at the big boy table on July 1st when they enter the SEC. Like, this is the way I think the meeting is going to go. Chris Del Conte is going to show up with all the other SEC athletic directors. He's going to shake hands. He's going to be smiling. And then he's going to look over at Texas A&M and go, "Hi, you're going to the kids' table." Or he's going to go to Missouri and go, "Hi, you're back at the little kids' table." Or he's going to go to Ole Miss and Keith Carter and say, "Get out. No, you already took Chris Beard. You can go ahead and take your chair and leave in the process." We're that way. We're Texas. They once again did an exceptional job of working the recruiting trail. Top 10 class underneath Steve Sarkisian. Not really that big of a shock. The names that they brought in the portal, they're not as proven as guys like Adonai Mitchell or even an Xavier Worthy, but they're really good. Like, Silas Bolden is going to be, I think, a household name in college football this time next year. And he's probably going to bolster a lot of all SEC conversations. I don't think enough people are talking about the addition of Trey Moore, the UTSA defensive end that was the American Defensive Player of the Year. They're not talking enough about Andrew Makuba. Like, they've added in really solid players, and they have an identity to where they lose some coaches. They lose Jeff Choate. They lose Bo Davis, but that's not going to change, I think, the way that we view Texas as a program, not even in the slightest. Oregon, on the same token, kind of did exactly that as well. They're a Frankenstein monster. If you watch any of the programmings, you've heard me say that Dan Lanning might as well be from Transylvania because he has created a monster that is going to terrorize the town of the Big Ten. They have offensive linemen that are built for Big Ten country. They got running backs that you would find in the ACC or in the SEC. They got a quarterback that is basically going for his MD in college football. They have a great defense. They have a good ideology on offense. The play calling underneath Will Stein is phenomenal. They upgraded at wide receiver in terms of what is going to be a proven commodity. They may have the best wide receiver room in the country. They really might, with Evan Stewart, if he hits his stride and actually lives up to expectations. Tez Johnson. They also have Trayshawn Holden. They're a really good overall roster, and you throw in the tight end. But the thing is that Texas, they still have some games that you have to worry about. They do. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Texas, if they were to go 10-2, it's not that shocking. If Oregon were to go 10-2, it's shocking only because of where is the other loss. Like, when you think about it, where is Oregon's other loss? It would be Ohio State, naturally. But are you really going to say they're dropping one to Michigan, even though it is in Ann Arbor? Are you really going to say they're going to drop one to Wisconsin, even though it's at Camp Randall? Like, I look at this team and I say 10-2 is probable, but 10-2 also still guarantees you at least a conversation starter in Indianapolis. It doesn't do that in the SEC. And that's really what this comes down to. When you look at Texas's schedule, they got Michigan on the road. They then also have the neutral site location at Red River, which, again, just throw out the records. It doesn't matter what the production is. It doesn't matter what the ratings are. This is just spit-swapping animosity and pure hatred at its finest. A week later, they play against Georgia at home, so they're going to be tired, but they also have that matchup. Florida, I don't think is a trap game whatsoever, but again, it would be on brand for Texas to lose a game where they just needed to get over the hump, and then A&M to close out the year. I can at least say that there's a conversation where they lose to Georgia, they lose to Michigan, and maybe, just maybe, they lose to Texas A&M and they're 9-3, and now watching from afar what is going to be their situation going into the 12-team playoff. I can't say that with Oregon. And even then, Oregon right now is built to, I think, go toe-to-toe with every team in the Big Ten, including Ohio State. I think Texas is too, but I just feel like when you look at Texas entering a new conference where there are established teams, where there is a lot of consistency, primarily Georgia, we're talking about maybe an Alabama underneath Kalen DeBoer. We're talking about LSU potentially being really, really good. Tennessee, what's the real UT? We all know what the real UT is, not the point. There's reason to believe that 10-2 is not good enough in the SEC to get you to the college football playoff automatically, and it's not good enough to get you to Atlanta. I find it very hard to say that about Oregon. If you're 10-2, usually that means that there's either one loss that has come, and also keep in mind, if you were to say lose to Ohio State and lose to Michigan, but then you win, and then somehow Michigan loses to, I don't know, we'll throw in a random like Wisconsin on a Thursday, well, then you get the advantage of 10-2. Like, you still could go to Indianapolis. it just feels like in a head-to-head matchup, you're going to see Texas have to play against a team twice, probably Oregon against a team twice. I feel like that Oregon has a better shot of losing round one and winning round two, or maybe Texas actually gets the dub during the regular season, but then when it's conference title game, they unfortunately just can't get it all together.
Hey, you made it to the end of the video. That's awesome. Thank you so much. But before you leave, make sure that you hit subscribe. And if you want to check out any of our other great work, make sure you click on one of the videos here. Am I pointing at the right spot? I'm not entirely sure. I'm really not.